Never let it be said that Trez doesn't ask some penetrating questions. The question today was, if you have a woman accusing a man of some form of sexual assault, would you automatically believe the woman or would you take the man's side? Well, the fact of the matter is, if you are a thinking person, then you shouldn't automatically believe anybody. Cigar. What you should do is listen to the story, listen to the tale, and weigh the facts. Now, that having been said, we're going to deal into some psychology, legality, and anthropology. Basically, we are a bunch of shaved apes, okay? But the ape world is a lot simpler than our world because we have this thing called a frontal lobe, and we are cognizant of various things that monkeys don't seem to consider. In ape civilization, the big ape gets all the girls, and they just have to live with the chimps that they give birth to. Okay? In our civilization, we are supposed to weigh everything, look at everything, and come up with a reasonable conclusion as to the agreement between men and women. Now, men are traditionally larger than women. Okay? Men are naturally aggressive because we have testosterone. Women are naturally submissive because they have estrogen. And no insult to the I hate phone calls. No insults intended to the transgender people out there, but that's just the way it is. I've said it in print before. If you have a person that is transgender and insisting that they are something other than what you see, and they die, and in 2,000 years some scientist digs them up out in the desert somewhere and does DNA. If they were born a boy, their DNA is going to say that they're still a boy. But we're going to leave that alone right there. That doesn't have anything to do with this. There is a vast gulf between the words don't, stop, and don't stop. We've all been there, okay, where there's a relationship developing between a man and a woman. The man is naturally aggressive, and everything, one thing leads to another, and at some point she goes with the flow, either for one reason or another. All right. Now myself, it's going to bust my Texas image here, but my mom hit me in the head with an iron skillet when I was about 14, and said, "If you ever hurt a good girl, I'll hit you in the head again." So consequently, my come on line has always been, "Will you marry me?" You know, I have no style with women whatsoever, and no matter what stage of the relationship I find myself in, at any point, if the girl says, "I really don't want to do this," we option for a cocktail. That way I stay out of jail, stay out of court, and I have lots of girl friends. Like I said, I have no style, so I have no girlfriends. At any rate, when a woman comes up and makes a complaint against a man, there are several stages of this. The most extreme stage, when I was growing up in the 50s and 60s, back just after the Civil War, if you grabbed a girl by the hair and pulled her down behind a bush, beat her up and had sex with her, that's called rape. Okay, there's no doubt about it. However, with the hashtag #MeToo generation, we have now escalated this up several steps to unreasonable levels. Okay, there is, of course, the boss who continuously comes on to the secretary, and for one reason or another, they end up having a short relationship because she wants to keep her job. Okay, that's rape. That's non-consensual sex, no matter what she says or does during the act. But I saw something happen in the late 90s in a real estate office. A guy named Gerald, who was a real estate agent, and a girl named Becky was there. And Becky was I'm not running her down, but she was a former pole dancer, which tells you pretty much what she looked like. She was a very charming girl. And she opted to get out of the pole business and get into real estate, which is commendable, and she was a good one. Gerald was copying some legal paperwork, contracts one day at the Xerox machine, and she walked up waiting to copy hers, and he said, "How are you doing today?" And she said, "Fine." And he said, "And you looking fine too." Okay? Gerald consequently lost his real estate license for sexual harassment. Just saying. The other thing that bothers me about the Me Too's is I could understand if a woman was harassed or made to do something she didn't want to do, and she went straight to the police within a reasonable time, not the next morning at 8 o'clock, but within a reasonable time, saying, I went over to this guy's house and he just wouldn't put it down, and something happened, and I'm really upset. Okay? Not 20 years later, when they suddenly decide that they didn't get that part on the Cosby Show, and now they're mad about all those trips they made to the movie star's house and took those drinks. I don't think that's fair. I haven't looked up the statute in Texas lately, but I believe we actually have a limitation on that, and it's kind of weird. It's like 10 years after your 18th birthday. You know, I don't want to say 28 years old, but I guess there's some legalism in there. Anyway, the way the law was written then was, if you can't get irritated after 10 years, well, it is what it is, okay? There was a case in California involving a school teacher. He had a student, and on her 18th birthday, he quit being a school teacher and moved into an apartment with the student. Cops were mad as hell, but they couldn't do nothing about it. The girl said, "I had no relationship with him until that moment. When I was 18, I moved in, and now I'm living with him." He did real good until she caught him having an affair with her best friend, and then she went down to the police and spilled the beans, and they spilled all over him. I don't know how that case turned out, but I don't think it turned out good. At any rate, we're trying that's the legal side. The psychology side is we're trying to get into relationships between male and female, and they're complicated. They're complicated. I have a relative who actually had to go and explain himself when his wife got mad at him over something, and she showed bruises on her wrists where he had restrained her and had forcible sex with her, and only later did it come out that she had a fetish. She liked to be handcuffed to the bed. Okay? He spit the hook on that one, luckily. Okay? Trez is asking a question that cannot be answered because it goes into human psychology. What excites a girl? What excites a man? What happens when you're alone in that room? Outside of the forcible black-eyed rape. Okay? My rule is very simple. It's very simple. And I said it early in this video, and I'll say it again. If I am, and I have been in a situation with a woman, when all of a sudden her mind changed, and she said, I really don't want to go through with this. And I mean, right then, it stops. Right then. Okay? As a matter of fact, I wonder if maybe it went too far already. But right then, if a lady says no, that no means no. Okay? But you still got to remember, men are larger than women. We're just a bunch of shaved apes when it comes right down to it. And I hate to tell everybody that, but that's what we are. We will behave a certain way. If we didn't behave a certain way, there would be no more people. All right? So, it's a difficult question. Y'all chime in with some comments. I don't have any style with women myself. That's why I don't have any trouble. All these other men can pick up on these little signals, that women give. A girl looks at you at a bar or winks at you or whatever. Myself, I am so stupid about women. If a girl is standing naked in front of a bed with "let's do this" written on her forehead in lipstick, I'll still have to consider, what does she really mean? We'll punch this little button and let everybody get to talking.